Hey, welcome. Many people ask Ryan how to become a mechanic, where to start, and what insights Ryan can provide for someone who wants to follow his path to become a mechanic. Today, I'll be asking Ryan the questions from our viewers. Hopefully, you can learn something from this special interview episode. Let's get started. So, for someone who's new to our channel, Ryan, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, as you know, if you don't know from the channel. So I own and operate a truck shop in Canton, Ohio. Went to high school, vocational school for diesel tech for 2 years. Shortly after that, went into the Navy Seabees. Was in there for just under 10 years. Worked on all types of heavy equipment, generators, cranes, trucks, pretty much everything for the most part, in all different types of environments. Gained a lot of experience there. After the Navy, worked for CAT for a while, for a Manitowoc crane dealer and a rail contractor, working on railroad maintenance away equipment as well. After that, kind of got tired of turning wrenches, so I thought, and I already had a CDL, so I decided to go drive for a while. Drove as a company driver, then got into the owner-operator side and did that for about 5 years. So got tired of driving and decided I wanted to have my own business. Still, as an owner-operator, so I like to have the independence and all that. So I decided to start my own business, turning wrenches, working on trucks and all types of equipment.
All right, so there's a viewer ask you, for someone who don't have any mechanic experience, if they wanted to start to pursue this career, how to start, where to start?
So there's several different avenues you could take trying to get into the industry. I mean, first of all, for the younger people, if you're still in high school, a lot of your high schools out there offer like a VOTEC, vocational type of education. That was kind of the path that I went down. And those are good programs. I mean, if you're still in high school, usually it's free training. I know I got like a separate high school diploma for that training. And also a lot of places to younger people, they'll offer like if you're going to one of those programs, they offer internships so you can get that experience. The main thing is experience. I mean, you can go in, a lot of you guys in the trucking world, when you go to truck driving school, you really come out there, you don't know really, you got a CDL, that's pretty much it, but you don't really know everything yet. I could have a guy come in here with 25 ASC certs or whatever on the wall, just came out of high school. And a lot of times they don't even know how to change oil. So it's nice to have some schooling with some certs and all that behind your back. What it comes down to is the boots on the ground experience is the major thing. The other thing for the younger people, the military is a great training bed. I said I was in the Seabees and the Navy for, like I said, almost 10 years, like I said earlier. And the great thing I gained from the military was that you could kind of explore things. You could break, if you broke something, it wasn't the end of the world because it's not a customer, it's the government and all that, but it was a great place to experiment and learn how to work on stuff without, worrying about a bottom line, working for a customer, a private company type of thing. I got a lot of really good experience from that, kind of pushing the limits of what I could do on a machine and what I couldn't, and the right way and the wrong way. So that was a lot of good experience for, like I said, for the younger people out there, or even middle of the road people. If you're coming out of trucking, if you're, older than, late 30s, 40s, kind of that midlife type of thing. You may want to go, a school, some type of tech school might be an option to kind of get your foot into a door, because a lot of places, they won't, unless you got some type of schooling or a little bit of experience, they're not going to bring you on. Here at my shop, I'm a little bit different. I'm willing to train people, so if you can find somebody that's a smaller shop, independent like me, for somebody that doesn't want to go to a school, I'm willing, if somebody wants to show up and has a good work ethic and all that, I'm willing to give you a chance type of thing. So I know there's probably other people like me out there, so that would be kind of what I would recommend. And again, kind of make money while you learn type of thing as well. So I think those are probably a few options there that could get your foot in the door.
Yeah, it's like, we're advertising, we will be hiring next year. Anyone's local wanted to become a mechanic, we might not really need any experience as long as you're willing to work and you are
willing to learn and show up.
Yes. Yeah, nowadays it's kind of hard to get people who's willing to work, right? There's so many fields in the mechanic. I've heard you were engine mechanic before, and there's truck mechanic, auto mechanic. So why you ended up being a truck mechanic?
The thing I like about trucks is they're mostly, I've got an old Freightliner, a new Freightliner in here, an old Peterbilt. But the thing is, the basis of a truck everything's pretty well the same. You got pretty much same brake systems, I mean clutches, you know, everything's pretty well cookie cutter for the most part. I used to like kind of look down on truck mechanics. I mean, when I was in heavy equipment and cranes, I mean, I made a lot hourly when I was, you know, a company mechanic. You know, the best money is going to be probably on more heavy equipment. Crane mechanics are probably some of the highest paid out there, and better benefits and all that stuff, just because of the, you know, the liability, the risk, and the complexity of the machines. I don't like working on a dozer today and a grader tomorrow, then a crane, then some other crazy piece of equipment. Like I said, trucks everything's pretty well the same for the most part, same platforms. Different brands, different engines, stuff like that. But you know, if you're going to do a brake job on a Peterbilt, it's going to be the same as on a Freightliner, stuff like that. So I mean, it really just depends what you want to do, what you like to do out there, and what you want to get into. The other things I like about trucks is having my own business. There's no shortage of trucks that need worked on. I mean, so it's an endless flow of business. It's year-round, trucks are always moving. Most of my customers are independent owner-operators. I got one truck, or you know, 3 to 5 trucks, or maybe a couple more than that. You have a very, very large customer base. So it's not like I'm just working, okay, I got a guy that's got an excavating company and got 40 pieces of equipment, to where I'm tied to that one guy. I mean, I like having a variety of customers to deal with, and you know, and if something goes bad with somebody, there's plenty of other customers, you know. So like I said, in the beginning, I kind of looked down on the truck side because it just didn't seem very glorified to me. I wanted to be out working on, you know, 999 Manitowoc crane, you know, 1,000, 1,200 ton crane or something like that. I thought it was a little bit more prestigious, but kind of getting a little bit more mature, I guess you could say, and looking at the big picture as far as running a business. I think the trucks are probably your best bet. And also, like I said, if you are looking to start your own business, the truck side, I mean, you don't need a whole lot of real specialty tools. I don't need a crane truck or anything like that. So it's pretty easy to start. A little
cheaper to
I mean,
start,
it's not cheap. I mean, we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars wrapped up in all this, but it's not like trying to get into the heavy equipment side. We need a lot more specialty stuff and other types of equipment. So.
Yeah. So I also have a viewer ask you, in an everyday, day-to-day job, you go through a lot of trucks, a lot of different things. So how much of your day-to-day job is really you learn from school, or how much is it from experience?
Quite honest. I mean, I've been to a lot of schools. Like I said, I went to Votech in high school. I went to several military schools in the Navy, you know, basic construction mechanic A school. Went to a couple C schools for like maintenance management. Went to several crane schools. Then once I got out of the military, I worked for a couple different dealers. Went to a lot of factory schools for cranes and for CAT and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of schooling, but I would say in my day-to-day, 90% of what I do is based on experience, just knowing how stuff works, looking at it. I mean, yeah, that schooling kind of gives you a baseline, and every once in a while, I'll be working on something and I'll remember something back from high school, vocational school that I'll, you know, kind of pull out of my tool bag and use that I learned at that. But I would try to say 90% of it is probably experience.
Okay. I also have a viewer ask you, like, you know, for somebody who's currently a mechanic, they wanted to make something, you know, looking for the next step of their career. They can, you know, become a business owner like you do. So can you give people some idea, what's the investment for become you know, a mobile service, or a shop like what we do, because we have experience of both. So give people some idea. So if they're thinking about become somebody, you know, they own the business, you know, how much they should looking at to invest.
A lot of repair shops are owned by mechanics who went into business for themselves, like myself. That's something you might want. You can get a head start with Fullbay's How to Start a Diesel Repair Shop ebook. It's free. It covers things outside of actual repairs, like how to set up your shop, revenue requirements, and even how to hire employees. Yes, there's a lot you need to learn when you're on your own, but this ebook is a good intro to the elements we don't often think about. So head over to fullbay.com/diesel to grab it now. By investment, there can be a couple of different measures of that. I mean, obviously you're gonna have money, but the other thing is time. It takes a lot of your time to put something like this together. Probably the easiest thing if you're transitioning from, and I mean, unless you have some buildings already, you know, something big enough to get a truck or piece of equipment in, If you don't have the facilities already from farming or something else, your cheapest and easiest bet is going to get into like roadside or field service. So we had a utility truck, then we went to a box truck, and then with YouTube and everything, and my business kind of turned into where more of my business was coming to me. So it got to the point where I was just like backing my service truck up to my shop at the farm and basically work like a mobile toolbox for the most part. So it just got to the point where I really needed a bigger shop, and because everything was coming to me and I was doing very little field service. And quite honestly, I don't like roadside and stuff like that. I like to be in my shop where everything's a little bit more of a controlled environment. I have everything here. I'm not out in the rain and snow. I mean, I've done that for 20 years and I've had enough of it. But as far as dollars go, I mean, getting started with our mobile service business, I would estimate getting that business up and running with all the special tools, the trucks, and everything, probably roughly $100,000. Now coming into the new building down here, we've had that investment on top of what we have in our new building. We were very fortunate to buy the property that we have down here for $75,000 cash. When you're looking for older industrial buildings, we looked at a lot of different properties, and it's hard to get financing on a lot of these buildings. So if you're trying to buy something, it's almost you have to do a cash deal, or you get into a lot of strings attached, inspections, environmental stuff like that. So it can be really tricky. Another thing, if you're looking to work on trucks somewhere, you gotta look at your zoning. I mean, that was real tricky for us. Because like some places commercial can be they don't want you working on trucks, so it's almost best to just go industrial. So it really just all those things you have to look at when you're looking to buy a property. If you're looking, like I said, go to from a mobile service to an in shop or whatever you're going to do. But like I said, we were very fortunate to get this property for what we paid for it. I've done a lot. I've done most of the work here myself, probably 90% of it. We did concrete, put up doors, all that stuff. But we've probably invested another $60,000 down here. So total, we're probably over $250,000 to come from leaving as an owner operator to where we're standing at today. Roughly, like I said, $250,000 investment, give or take. So. Now the time aspect, I basically work 7 days a week, 80 hours a week, especially because the thing you got to consider if you're coming from an in-shop company mechanic is that, okay, now you're not only a mechanic, you're running a business. So I'm the parts person, I'm the janitor, I'm the accountant. I mean, I have to run and get parts, everything, dealing with customer service, talking to customers, and the scheduler. My wife helps me a little bit with that. But the problem why I have to work so many hours is basically between like 9 and 4, it's hard for me to get any actual work done. So it's like you got to start early in the morning, try to get 3 or 4 hours of work in, then you deal with admin and nonsense all day, and then you got to work a couple hours in the evening to try to actually get a 6 or 8 hour day that you can actually bill customers for. So that's one thing. You're not just going to come out here and work 8 or 10 hours and be able to bill it all to a customer, especially if you don't. I mean, if you got somebody running the business with you, it'd make it a lot easier. It takes a lot of time and a lot of different. It's like you have 3 full-time jobs at once, so it's really tricky to juggle.
I think there's another viewer ask you, what would be your best advice for people how to become successful mechanic? There's different level of mechanic. You can be, newbies, entry level. You also can be a trusted, high reputation mechanic. How can you define the successfulness?
What I found in the course of my time, even when I was in the Navy, is building a good relationship with your customers. I mean, even like I said, I was a construction mechanic in the Navy, which we heavy equipment basically, but we had equipment operators. And they were basically our customer. So you build a rapport with those people, even though they're not paying me, I mean, because it's the military, but you do good work for your customer per se, and then they request you to do stuff. So, and that's kind of the philosophy I've taken ever since I've gotten out of the military. Even when I've worked for dealers, I mean, you build a good, when you get sent on a job, I mean, you do good work for them, be honest about things and all that good stuff, and build trust with your customer, then they call and recommend they want you to come out. I mean, I've had several dealers I've worked at where the customers called in and asked for me specifically to come out and work on their equipment. So then now after having our own business, I mean, trust is everything, I think. I mean, there's a lot of shady, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, there's so much work out there. There's a lot of shady businesses out there. that I mean, they're not going to let you out of the shop for a certain, they're going to get you for $1,000, even if what they did was 200. That's just the way places are. They're just not going to let you go for less than whatever. I mean, yeah, there is some instances where people just don't know, they misdiagnose stuff and all that. I mean, but I think there are a lot of shady places out there. So I mean, a lot of our customers come to us because most of the time, I mean, all the time we try to shoot straight. But I mean, most of the time we get the problem corrected, at minimal cost. I mean, and minimal what needs to be done. I mean, is not just throwing parts and stuff and all that type of stuff.
All right, that's all the questions I have collected from our viewers from the past few years. And thank you for watching. If you have any questions for Ryan, feel free to leave a comment. And we will do more interviews just like this to answer more of your questions in the future. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Thanks.